All right, so let's make a formal introduction for our listeners. Good morning, Ed. My name is Claudia. I'm calling you from Washington, D.C., from the studios in Fairfax City. We are very humble and grateful that Ed Bazel accepted our invitation to our show. Ed, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me.
Sure, no problem, man. Usually, I begin the interview with the same question, and the COVID has been very difficult for all of us for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
Whether you believe in the vaccine or not, um, a million people lost their life here in the United States, and we have a kind of crazy president before, and we didn't believe in stuff, and it has affected all of us, right, one way or another.
Mm.
And how difficult was for you if you're a touring musician, you couldn't tour, so you couldn't earn an income, and
Mhm.
some people rely on the studio work, and some people don't have a studio at home, so they went out of business. So like many musicians went
Mhm.
back to school or got another job or whatever they did. So how the COVID affected you, your sanity and your life? How you holding up, man?
That's a good. Thank you for asking that. That's a great question,
Thank you.
actually. Yeah, just so you know, I started out as a pianist.
Yep.
There's an answer to this question.
Yep.
Business degree, computer programming degree, and I was a pianist for a living for 20 years. Then I became an agent, uh, and then I would come back to the piano at night, running a business. It was stressful, so the more I'd play, the more comfortable I'd feel. So I was an agent. We produced concerts for corporations. I can tell you so many stories of so many
Yeah.
wonderful things.
Yeah.
But when COVID came, that wiped all that out. And fortunately for me, I was okay, luckily. And but I felt so bad, not just for the artists, but for the road crew, the sound and lights people, the backline people,
Yeah.
the catering people, everyone that makes a living. So that was really odd to see that happen. Fortunately, I have my piano here at home, and I was able to pour my emotions and isolation into the piano itself. And I was able to record 2 CDs, one last year and then one this year also, which is really, for me, it's like life coming full circle back to piano, where I truly feel comfortable and at home. So
Yeah.
yeah, is the concert industry back to normal in my market? Not as much so, and but I feel I need to be at this point of life right here at the piano, composing thoughtful, romantic, emotional, sometimes haunting piano pieces.
Yeah.
It's driven me to do that. So
Yeah, that's great, man. Let's go back to the beginning. Were you born like in a musical family? How old were you when you perhaps began taking guitar lesson or piano lesson? And who's
oh, I
yeah.
grew up in a small city called Huntington, West Virginia. It's a
Oh, wow.
lovely place to grow up.
Yeah.
Um, Marshall University is there, and it's a great place. I had an older sister, and my parents, they my first recollection is my older sister wanted to take piano lessons. So I would go with my mom to drop her off. And then my mom got smart enough at age 5 for me to think, if I drop them both off, I'll have an hour of freedom by myself.
That's right.
So I started at age 5 taking lessons. And, I would just not all the way there. I mean, it was good, but, I was kicking and screaming and not wanting to do it. And I remember being outside playing on the streets in my neighborhood after school, after dinner, playing American football and with the guys and having fun. And my mom sticks her head out the front door and yells, "Eddie, time to practice piano."
Oh man, they ruin your.
As my street credibility was gone.
That's right. Yeah.
So, uh, you know, but were my parents musical? No. Was my sister musical? No. I do remember my parents, though. My dad had a spark in him, and I would hear songs on the stereo, Tony Bennett, Sinatra, Carole King. Oh gosh, yeah, just tons of classic artists, and
Yeah.
I was thrilled with that. And coincidentally, my sister was really excited one time, and I was, what's that? What's going on? And she said a group called the Beatles is going to be on TV, and I'm like, okay. And so I was there with my mom and dad and my sister watching that black and white television, when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan. I was like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, did I love lessons? No. But in the end, it was the absolute best thing my parents ever did for me. And I still thank them every night every night before I go to bed. I always play in the dark, and it's just my communion with the world. And I always thank my parents and my sister, who have all passed away, for what they did for me. And I made sure when my parents were alive that they knew this was the best gift they could have ever given me, was the ability to play to the point of it's effortless to play. It's a direct connection between my soul and my hands. To Claudio, let's put it this way: I'm not a performer. I'm not a guy that says, "Look at me, let me entertain you." I really am an instrumentalist, is how I feel, or maybe a mentalist. No, an instrumentalist.
Yeah.
But and my goal is to extract as much beauty and warmth out of that piano as I possibly can. And and it doesn't have to be, rapid fire. I can play many styles easily, but just to be able to play that effortlessly. And when we talk about my latest recording session, to go there and be fearless, absolutely fearless, because I knew I have practiced enough. I played 10,000 hours for a living when I was a full-time pianist. And to be able to do that, I'm walking in rarefied air. I really feel that way. And I feel truly like the luckiest guy alive to be able to do this. So
good for you, man. Good for
you. But my parents always wanted me to get a real job. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually you were, I don't know, 17, 18, finishing high school, and sort of you needed to make a decision, right? One hand, man, I'm very good in piano. Maybe we should go to Berkeley in Boston or Juilliard in New York and, get like a bachelor degree in music or education or, whatever. Or your parents telling you, no, you're good in piano. That's like a hobby. Forget about music, man. Go to school, get a real job. You will not make music. You will not make a good living as a musician. And so forget the music and keep in the background, but go to school or,
That's the way. Yeah, there was no option to go to Berkeley or any music school. It was, my dad was an industrial engineer. He had a real job. My sister, of course, got straight A's, National Merit Scholarship finalist, and all the good academic stuff. And here I'm the musician. So, so the influence of my parents was to get a real job, get a safe job, settle down, and all that. Yeah. So I did, at high school, the local university is Marshall University.
Yep.
And so I went there and got a bachelor's of business degree. Now, granted, I was still in bands. We had bands in junior high school, college, and stuff. So that was still there. But when I was that first round of college, as it was in high school and junior high school, my concentration just wasn't there to get those stellar grades like my sister. But I could gravitate towards the piano and feel at home. So I did get the degree, got out and got a real job in Huntington, West Virginia. And that just didn't fit me well. I mean, I did the job fine and all that, but I found an opening for a pianist at a new high-end French restaurant in my town. And I knew the owner. I said, "Hey, can I?" And that turned out to be I believe, a 5-year job of being a full-time pianist in that restaurant. And amazing stuff happened there. I mean, one night, about 10 till 11, I think it was, we were ready to close. The piano's right by the front door, so I would say hi to people that came in. 10 till 11, the door opens. Rod Stewart comes in with his band. It was like,
My God, man. Wow.
yeah. He had played the Coliseum, the arena, and I ended up playing for Rod Stewart and his band for their whole dinner. Oh my God, that was scary, but it was fun. So anyway, yeah.
Good for you, man. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, like I told you before, similar story to you, right? I was a terrible kid in Chile. I was doing a lot of stupid stuff and bad grades, and my parents were very pissed off at me. And I studied with the Jesuits, private Catholic school, and but music was my thing early in the beginning. I couldn't play, and I wasn't planning on playing or taking piano lessons or nothing like you, but I wanted to listen and to bands. And at the time, Genesis was important, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and I thought, man, I need to go back. I need to go somewhere up north to the United States to listen to these bands. And now 40 something year later, that was the best decision of my life.
Nice. That was a brave decision to leave your country and come here.
And I didn't speak the language, so I got lucky along the way. And I don't know, like I say before, I'm the American dream alive, man. I did it now from being a terrible student, C average. I have now a bunch of college degrees. I was able to attend the best university in the country, and I got lucky along the way. Well, but music has always been important. I always thought, man, I need to get a good job, go to a good school, so I could afford this kind of stuff. My wife always say that I have an expensive taste, so I need to keep on keep on working to afford this stuff. And so from that restaurant, what was the next step after that?
I got a job in Lexington, Kentucky, where my sister lived.
Yeah.
And I ended up being at the at the Hyatt there for 5 years as a pianist.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, I went to UK and got a computer programming degree. And
really?
Yes, but for my own vindication, I was 1B short of a perfect 4.0 overall average. And I deserved the B because I slacked off at the very end. But that was a validation to me. I can do this. So loved being in Lexington. It was a great place to be. And then I always thought, Claudio, okay, I have a business degree, computer programming degree. I've played piano for 10 years, but I've never been to music school. So that was my driving force. And I found there was a school out in Los Angeles called the Dick Grove School of Music. And it's very under the radar known, but it was run by Dick Grove, and they would have like Joel DiBartello, the bass player for the Tonight Show, teaching, all these people. And, Barry Manilow went there. Michael Jackson went there.
Wow.
So I saved up enough money and I said, I'm moving to California. And I went to Dick Grove School of Music and ended up, and that was a great experience to realize how little I knew as a musician. But I was able to get by with my cocktail style. So I was there. And then I also started playing out in Los Angeles. I was the house pianist at the Beverly Hills Country Club, the Ritz-Carlton, Laguna Niguel. I would play lunches in downtown LA, sunsets in Marina Del Rey. And at one time I was named by the LA downtown newspaper the best pianist in downtown LA. And I was like, wow, a kid from Huntington, West Virginia.
Yeah.
That was really cool. But let's fast forward just a little bit. The more I would go into my agent's office to pick up a paycheck, the more they would call me for work. I was like, okay. So I thought, you have that box of index cards of artists. why don't I write a database for you so that you can get computer? So I wrote a database for that agency and got in the agency. And I started finding out that I have a good business head, and I also, by the way, wrote another database for an extras casting company and got my friends on Murder, She Wrote, and I was on Dallas and Columbo and as an extra. So that was fun too.
Well, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up being an agent and then started out, and then fast forward, I became an agent for artists like Judy Collins, Don McLean, Gordon Lightfoot, Starship, Survivor, a number of them.
Wow.
And,
Big names, man. Very big names.
That was cool. And that was out in LA. By that time, my daughter was born, and my dad in West Virginia had leukemia. And when I went to visit him the first time, it was just sad to see. And there was nothing I could do to help him. I'm not a doctor. And there's nothing I could do. I ended up organizing and riding a bicycle fundraiser for the City of Hope, which is a cancer research facility in Duarte, California. And they do wonderful work. They've, started with stem cells and all kinds. It's just amazing what they do. I ended up riding a bicycle from the end of the Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles to the end of the St. John's Pier in St. Augustine, Florida, to raise money for the City of Hope. So that was 8 states, 278 cities and towns, and 3,000 miles on a bicycle to do that. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was an amazing trip. But what I'm getting to is that I thought, I would like to be closer to my father when he in West Virginia, if possible. And I knew Nashville was a music city, and I had a couple of friends in Nashville, and so we ended up moving to Nashville. That was 25 years ago. By the way, now. Every other person in my neighborhood is from California.
Everybody's moving back. Yeah.
So anyways, I ended up here, and I had an entrepreneurial seizure where I thought, I could do this agency thing better on my own. So I opened my own company.
Yep.
And we specialize in producing concerts, comedians, and speakers for corporate events. And the only thing that was always there was my mom saying, "Get a real job. Will you please get a real job?" But we've had bookings, Claudio. It's really cool, from the Great Wall of China to the U.S. ambassador to the Vatican in Rome. Corporate clients like AT&T, Fidelity, Google, and artists. Oh, this is the best part. Air Supply, Beach Boys, Charlie Daniels, Danny Glover, Eddie Money, Foreigner, Bad Company, Huey Lewis and the News, I'm just dying, that how did I get this lucky? And I'm the guy that's on the side of the stage. I'm not in the audience. I'm not behind. I'm behind the side of the stage with the paycheck for the band. And I'm like, oh my, how did I get this lucky? And I remember being at the Broadmoor Resort in Colorado Springs, and I was on the side of the stage, and the Temptations were singing. They're high stepping it in the front, all dressed up. The 10-piece horn section is wailing, and the corporate audience is just floating up and down. And I'm just like, thank you, God, I didn't get a real job.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, this is a big difference because many musicians, they are not business savvy. They hang out with the wrong people. They lose all the money. They don't invest it, and they're 30, 40 years later, playing in a bar for $20 an hour or something like that. They don't understand that good money coming in, a good check, you need to put money away or invest, buy a business or figure out something. And it's too bad. I mean, people don't know how to invest money, what to do, so.
I agree. I always say, no matter how many, I've been lucky to win numerous awards in business and piano playing. No matter how many of those I get, the person at the grocery store checkout line doesn't care. They want money for groceries. So
that's right. Yeah.
This is not show friends, it's show business. And got to make, it's very seductive to be in music, but you also need to make a living at it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say before, I knew that I wanted to see shows and see different bands and travel around the world that I have, and I knew I needed to get a good job and a well-paying job, so could afford to do this kind of stuff. So I got lucky on the way, I suppose. But I always have tried to help people out, and because like I mentioned before, this country has been very good to me. So I put in a scholarship for some people, and
nice.
And I try to help people out. I grew up with whether I believe in all the rules that Catholicism imposed on me, I don't. But I have a good foundation for a good school, and I know what is right and what is wrong, and I try to help people out, man. And so it was at the beginning when you moved there from where you were to Los Angeles. How difficult was it at the beginning? Because you arrive in a new town, you don't know many people, and yeah, you were a good pianist, but going from that point to start getting gigs on country club on the Ritz-Carlton, and how you managed to do that kind of stuff. How difficult was it?
Good question. And by the way, there's just one sidebar. My first 6 years of school were in Catholic school, so I still have huge guilt. Okay, so
I know what you mean. Yeah.
But I think the whole thing, let's say out in Los Angeles, I realized as long as I just show up on time, be courteous, kind, and will be so lucky as to make a living with my hands and my soul playing music. It's just wow. That solo piano stuff is a dying art. You don't see it out like it used to be, nor do you see 6 nights a week of music. Well, in Nashville, you do down on Second and Broadway, but at the time in LA, I was working both a lunch shift and an evening shift at Sunset, and I was making very nice money. So it was a cool way to make it. But I've actually gone back to those hotels and even the Ritz-Carlton recently, and I found that old Steinway that I used to play tucked back in downstairs in the catering area, back in a corner with a lock on it. And it's just like,
wow.
Hello, old friend,
Yeah.
that time passes. So, but getting back to this, how I was lucky enough to be professional. Okay. I always say we're not curing cancer here. This is a gig. We show up, we show up on time, we're courteous, and we do our job. So I think that helped. Also, having the computer degree and going into that agency certainly changed my life. And then, oh my gosh, to the point, I never thought I would be, fast forward to here in Nashville. I had an office on Music Row, catty corner to RCA Studio B, and that's where Elvis recorded his hits. The Everly Brothers. Right there.
My God, man. Yeah. Oh, I never been in Nashville. I never been in Tennessee to begin with. I would like to, maybe one day I will visit you. We get together for dinner or
I'll take you on the
beer. I would love to take some pictures. So that's
I'll take you on the special tour that most people go to Second and Broadway, and there are tons of bars and happy people and and all that, but there's some other places to see that I think you as a music lover would really.
Yeah. Like I say at the beginning, and I would never learn how don't know how to play music or play any instrument or read music, but music has given me so much satisfaction. Music is like magic for me. I don't know what is. I cannot describe it. On a Friday night or Saturday night, yesterday when I was putting questions for this interview, and I put my headphone, I listen to music, I drink a beer or two, and music takes me places. It's a beautiful thing. We live in this crazy world, man. We put in on this world and poor people in Ukraine or this or that. People should listen to more music in the world, man. I wish I was kind of famous and interview Putin, and I would bring a lot of record to him and then talk to him like a music lover to a crazy guy, and then And then
Right.
it's the world so beautiful, man. It's so
It is. I mean, music transcends language and touches our soul.
absolutely, absolutely right.
Yeah, I play literally 3, 4 times a day because I work from my house now. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but it comforts me, and even I'm the musician, and it really comforts me to
Mm.
play when I'm down or when I'm alone or even when I'm happy. So I hear you. There's a draw that's magnetic, and I like that you're helping people with your station and your efforts.
Thank you.
I fast forward, here I'm running an agency booking, and it's a very linear booking, and logistics and everything that goes on. I would go home at night and start playing the piano again.
Mhm.
Where I used to play, 5, 6, 10 hours a day for 6 days a week when I was playing. So
Mm.
the more I do that, the more I would play songs like Misty, Someone to Watch Over Me, Over the Rainbow, things like that. Those old, beautiful standards like an E flat or A flat, just those warm, that would really calm me down. Then I thought, maybe I should record a CD I'd never had. So I
Yeah.
recorded my first CD here in Nashville.
Mm.
It's called Bella Piano. It has a couple of hits that are a couple of songs that I had composed while I was a pianist out in California.
Yeah.
I called that my Scared Pianist CD, okay? Because it was the first time I was, doing a solo piano CD with just me, 3 microphones in a studio, and it's like, oh God, what will others think? So I was kind of tightened up a little bit. Anyway, let's fast forward. I got that one. I recorded one last year during COVID. Uh, Let me back up just for musicians' purposes.
Sure.
When I was playing at home, I had a Yamaha Clavinova, which is a weighted action piano, meaning it's not a full piano with the big harp and the strings. It's an electronic one, but the keys feel like they're a real piano.
Oh, I see. I see. I see. Yeah.
So I practiced on that. And then when I went to record under those 3 microphones and being under a microscope, people looking at you, that Yamaha C7 Concert Grand in the studio it was like it was a totally different feel. It was like going from driving a Honda to a Ferrari on steroids because it was so alive. So that's why I was a little tentative, and I can tell in my playing that anyway. So fast forward, I cured that because after that, I ended up buying my own Yamaha C7 Concert Grand, and it's in my dining room now. So
Good for
I'll
you.
never have that issue again.
Good for
The
you. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know where I started with this story, but you record that CD, the one last year, in my dining room, which had a couple of songs that have got some notoriety, and I'm lucky on that. And then to realize, life is short. I've worked, my nuclear family is gone. Um, Numerous artists that I've worked with throughout the years are gone. We don't know how much time we have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wring as much life out of life as I can. That's why the Abbey Road thing. That's why I hiked Mount Kilimanjaro, Tour de France, cycling vacations in the Alps, things like this that are memorable.
Yeah.
And whenever you want to talk about the Abbey Road experience, I was just
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
It's unbelievable. I went to Abbey Road. Well, I go to London like twice a year, so to see concerts, to see bands that they don't come here to the United States. And the first time I couldn't even pass the gate. So so next time I'm going, I will go inside and take some pictures like you have, and it's an unbelievable place, man. As I say, I never been inside. I know all about it, and I've been, I go every time I go to London, I go to the record shop right next to it
Oh
because
yeah,
I buy stuff that I couldn't find here on the
there,
United States. And go
right
ahead.
there, that red sign, that's Studio 2.
Yeah,
That's sign outside of a studio too.
Yeah, have you ever look back when you were, when you were playing soccer or whatever outside your home with your mom and with your friends, and your mom told me it's time to practice. Now ended up there. It's it's crazy. It's like it's like a dream in many ways, right?
I, yeah, it is. By the way, do you have the ability to share your screen? I have a couple of pictures I could share with you if you feel
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah. I can give you permission. Hold
Okay.
on. I need to do. Hold on. How you bring? How you? I need to figure out how. Give me 1 minute.
No problem.
How you allow?
On the bottom,
Yeah,
there's a thing that says share, and then there should be a pull down menu there.
yeah, yeah. But I want. I need to give you
Right.
permission for you to.
Oh, yeah. It's where it says share screen on the bottom, there should be a little arrow to have more underneath that share screen selection. And if not, it's okay.
Yeah, but I have your. Let me. I can share it. Hold on. I can.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute because
No problem.
I wanna go. Give me 1 minute.
Problem.
Use Basil, and then here, and then here, and then wait. All right, so I will share my screen here,
Okay.
and I have the picture that you mentioned. So
Oh, good.
you see my screen, right?
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. That was epic to be right there. That's like me, a kid in a candy store, knowing that history of who has walked those stairs. It'd be like you being, oh gosh, you have more pictures.
Yeah,
Wow, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that was after I was done recording. That was just amazing to hear.
Mm. I
Oh,
will be very nervous just to enter that past the door entrance, and but you earn it,
yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I figured I had oh wow, I don't wow, you maybe the PR people send you these pictures.
They did.
I
Beth,
just
let me.
want the studio for you to see. That there is studio too.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. That is just phenomenal to be in there. There you go. If you see on the right there,
yeah,
right to the right of my arm, there's an upright piano.
yeah.
That is the Mrs. Mills piano. That was on Penny Lane, and All You Need Is Love. If you can, that's up against the wall there.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I want to see
yeah.
what else we have there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I have everything.
Now that picture right there. If you
Yep,
look in the back left corner, there is
yep,
the Steinway Concert D with 13 microphones. But the most important thing is that back left corner,
yep.
that exact footprint and corner where the Beatles set up to record their hits. I was just beyond belief to be there.
Yeah. Well, let's see what else I have here. That's crossing the road like everybody.
Oh, yeah. But, again, and by the way, yeah, as you know, there's no stoplight there. You cross the road, and the drivers are supposed to stop. So,
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was
Everybody in the world go to go London, and I wanna cross that. So let me see what else I have. That's another.
oh, yeah, that's the Studio 2 control room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good for you,
cool.
man. All right, that's the album we'll talk about. Let me stop sharing. And it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. And man, looking back, that you were, and believe it or not, as I say, I've never been inside, but looking at the picture, and I
Mhm.
tried to put myself into that particular picture, it doesn't look like a fancy place. I mean, the wood that they have there, the light that's been there from 50, 60 years. It's the same thing. They don't kind of record.